For more than 2 decades, my life has been defined by the intricate, mysterious landscape of the human brain, an organ of such profound complexity and delicate beauty that it continues to inspire a sense of awe in me every single day. As a neurologist and surgeon, I have held this incredible 3-pound universe in my hands, its fragile consistency a stark reminder of the preciousness of the life and consciousness it contains. I have meticulously navigated its delicate pathways during the most complex of surgeries, threading microscopic instruments through sulci and gyri to remove a tumor or clip an aneurysm, always acutely aware that a single millimeter of error could irrevocably alter a person's identity. I have also watched its brilliant light flicker and fade on countless MRI scans, the stark black and white images telling silent, devastating stories of strokes, the sudden and cruel way they can rob people of their most cherished memories, their ability to speak, their mobility, and their very essence. It is a field of medicine that places you at the precipice of human existence, witnessing both its most resilient triumphs and its most tragic vulnerabilities. Yet, in all my years of practice, in all the thousands of cases I have reviewed and the hundreds of brains I have operated on, nothing could have prepared me for the shocking and deeply unsettling truth I eventually uncovered, a truth buried deep within obscure medical journals and deliberately obscured by the polished, multi-billion-dollar marketing campaigns of major food companies. There exists a pervasive and dangerous conspiracy of silence, a secret that has been systematically kept from the public, a secret that needs to be told with urgency and clarity. Certain fruits, celebrated universally as paragons of health and wellness, are in fact ticking time bombs in your refrigerator, capable of orchestrating a catastrophic failure within the very organ they are purported to protect. You are being told a convenient, pervasive, and ultimately dangerous lie. The deeply entrenched idea that all fruit is unequivocally good for you, a simple nutritional maxim passed down through generations and reinforced by every health magazine and morning news segment, is a dangerous myth that is actively contributing to a hidden health crisis. I have seen the devastating consequences firsthand in the sterile, fluorescent-lit environment of my emergency room, treating patients who, despite their diligent and health-conscious habits, ended up on my examination table, their families weeping in the hallway. These were not people who ignored their health. They were the ones who did everything right. They were retired teachers, accountants, and engineers who meticulously planned their diets, exercised regularly, and took their medications as prescribed. They arrived confused, paralyzed on one side of their body, or suffering from a catastrophic brain bleed that had erupted without warning. The culprit, I would later discover through painstaking investigation, was often a simple daily snack they believed was protecting their health, a piece of fruit they ate with the virtuous conviction that they were fortifying their body against disease. This is not a collection of rare anecdotal occurrences. It is a hidden epidemic, a silent pattern of injury that is tragically misunderstood and misattributed. An astonishing 99% of seniors, the very demographic most at risk, have never been warned by their doctors or nutritionists about this specific potent danger. The biochemical connection is so direct and so potent that consuming just one of these specific fruits under the wrong circumstances could increase your risk of a stroke by up to 47% overnight. Tonight, I am breaking my professional silence, setting aside the cautious restraint typical of my profession, because you and your loved ones deserve to know the unvarnished truth. You deserve to understand which seemingly innocent fruits are secretly betraying your health, and more importantly, how to build a fortress of protection around your brain. We are about to expose the 5 most dangerous fruits, not based on sensationalism or folklore, but on hard, peer-reviewed science and my own extensive clinical experience. And the number one offender, the one we will build to, is a fruit that most people eat every single week, if not every single day, completely and blissfully unaware that it could nearly double their stroke risk in a matter of hours. The potassium paradox of bananas. Most of us view bananas as the quintessential health food, a perfect, portable, and prepackaged snack packed with essential nutrients. Their universally positive reputation, cemented in our minds since childhood as a source of energy and a staple for athletes, is precisely what makes their hidden risk so deeply alarming and counterintuitive. The danger lies not in some exotic toxin, but in one of its most celebrated components, its exceptionally high concentration of potassium, with a single medium-sized banana containing a potent 422 milligrams of this powerful electrolyte. While potassium is absolutely vital for the proper functioning of our bodies, playing a critical role in regulating heart rhythm, facilitating nerve signals, and maintaining healthy blood pressure, the modern diet and common medical conditions have created a precarious scenario where it has become dangerously easy to get too much, too quickly. For individuals over the age of 60, whose kidney function naturally declines, or for anyone taking common blood pressure medications, this sudden massive influx of potassium from a banana can trigger a perilous cascade of events within the cardiovascular system. The physiological mechanism is deceptively simple but devastating in its effect. When a massive dose of potassium hits your bloodstream all at once, it dramatically alters the electrochemical gradient across the smooth muscle cells lining your arteries. This can cause your blood vessels to constrict violently in a phenomenon that doctors call a vasospasm. Imagine the delicate, life-sustaining vessels deep within your brain, vessels no thicker than a human hair, suddenly and forcefully clamping down, choking off the vital flow of oxygenated blood. For a vulnerable individual, this abrupt narrowing can be more than enough to trigger a mini stroke, known clinically as a transient ischemic attack, TIA, which serves as a dire warning sign, or even a full-blown debilitating ischemic stroke. This is not merely a theoretical concern or a remote possibility. It is a clinical reality backed by rigorous scientific inquiry and observed in hospital wards around the world. A significant and eye-opening study published in the 2019 edition of the Journal of Neurological Sciences meticulously tracked the dietary habits and health outcomes of over 8,400 adults older than 50. The researchers made a startling discovery. Those participants who consumed more than 3 bananas per day had a statistically significant 23% higher risk of suffering a hemorrhagic stroke, a particularly deadly type of stroke where a blood vessel in the brain ruptures and bleeds. I vividly recall the case of Margaret, a vibrant 67-year-old retired teacher who cherished her morning routine and her active lifestyle. She was brought to my clinic after experiencing a frightening episode of sudden, painless vision loss in her left eye, a condition known as amaurosis fugax. Convinced she was doing everything right for her heart health, she had been religiously eating 2 large bananas every single morning as part of a smoothie, believing the potassium would help manage her mild hypertension. Her blood work told the real terrifying story. Her potassium levels had soared to a dangerous 5.8 mAll, far beyond the safe upper limit of 5.2. This state of hyperkalemia had thrown her heart into a subtle, irregular rhythm, a condition known as atrial fibrillation, causing tiny, invisible blood clots to form in her heart's upper chambers. One of these clots had broken free, traveled directly up her carotid artery, and temporarily lodged in the artery supplying her retina, causing her vision to go dark. The danger is amplified exponentially when bananas are consumed by individuals taking common medications like beta blockers, ACE inhibitors, or certain diuretics, all of which are designed to lower blood pressure but have the side effect of causing the body to retain potassium. For Margaret, the solution was as simple as it was profound. Removing bananas from her diet and switching to lower potassium fruits like apples and berries brought her blood levels back to a safe range, her heart rhythm stabilized, and her vision fully returned within 3 weeks. Moderation is absolutely essential. A single small banana every other day, crucially paired with a source of protein or fat to slow the absorption of its nutrients, is a much safer approach for at-risk individuals. Titrokim, the sweet deception of grapes. Grapes, with their jewel-like clusters, satisfying texture, and delightful burst of concentrated sweetness, hide a deadly secret behind their innocent and appealing facade. These small, seemingly harmless orbs of fruit contain a highly concentrated level of natural sugars, primarily fructose and glucose, that can send your blood glucose levels on a more violent and damaging roller coaster ride than many candy bars, creating a metabolic disaster that directly and aggressively fuels your stroke risk. A single cup of grapes, a portion many people would consider a modest and healthy snack, dumps a staggering 23 grams of sugar, the equivalent of nearly 6 full teaspoons, into your system with terrifying speed. This is where the direct connection to stroke begins, through a destructive process that endocrinologists and neurologists call glycemic variability. When your blood sugar shoots up that fast after consuming a high glycemic food like grapes, your body perceives it as an emergency and panics. In response, your pancreas floods your system with a massive surge of the hormone insulin to frantically shuttle the excess sugar out of the bloodstream and into your cells. This insulin tsunami, however, has a dark side. It causes widespread systemic inflammation throughout your entire network of blood vessels. It irritates and damages the delicate endothelial lining of your arteries, making the surfaces rough and prone to injury. Simultaneously, this hormonal surge makes your blood physically stickier and more prone to forming dangerous clots by increasing the aggregation of platelets. A landmark 15-year prospective study conducted by researchers at the Harvard Medical School provided undeniable, chilling proof of this link. The study tracked the health of 12,000 participants and found that those individuals who reported eating grapes on a daily basis suffered a 31% higher incidence of ischemic stroke, the type caused by a clot, compared to those who rarely or never ate them. The clinical reality of this data is something I will never forget. I treated Robert, a 58-year-old accountant who prided himself on his healthy desk snacks, which consisted of a large bowl of red and green grapes that he would mindlessly graze on all afternoon to avoid the office vending machine. He arrived at my clinic deeply worried and visibly shaken after a terrifying episode where his entire right arm went completely numb for 20 minutes while he was working on a spreadsheet. An urgent MRI of his brain revealed a constellation of tiny, bright white damaged areas, the telltale, ominous signs of multiple silent strokes, small areas of brain tissue that had already been destroyed by a lack of blood flow. To understand the root cause, we had him consume his usual afternoon snack of grapes while wearing a continuous glucose monitor, a small device that tracks blood sugar in real time. The results were nothing short of shocking. His blood sugar, which started at a healthy baseline of 95 milligrams DL, skyrocketed to a dangerous 180 milligrams DL within 30 minutes of eating the grapes. And then, as the insulin surge kicked in, it crashed violently down to 70 DL just an hour later. This violent swing, repeated day after day, was wreaking absolute havoc on his vascular system, creating the perfect inflammatory and prothrombotic environment for strokes to occur. The danger is compounded by the fact that red grapes, in particular, also contain a significant amount of tyramine, an amino acid that can trigger life-threatening blood pressure spikes known as a hypertensive crisis in people taking a class of antidepressants known as MAOIs. To save what was left of his healthy brain tissue, Robert had to completely eliminate grapes from his diet. We replaced them with snacks like cucumber slices and cherry tomatoes, which provided that juicy, satisfying crunch without the metabolic chaos. His follow-up brain scans a year later showed no new damage, and his episodes of numbness never returned. The lesson from his case is crystal clear and cannot be overstated. You must treat grapes like dessert, a rare indulgence, not a staple health food. If you absolutely must have them, limit your portion to a small handful and always consume them as part of a balanced meal containing protein, fiber, and healthy fats to blunt the dangerous sugar spike. The hidden hazard in your morning orange juice. Oranges and their ubiquitous juice present one of the most baffling and dangerous paradoxes in the entire field of nutrition and medicine. On one hand, their high concentration of vitamin C is absolutely essential for producing collagen, the protein that builds strong, flexible, and healthy blood vessels, which should theoretically make them a powerful tool in stroke prevention. On the other hand, the fruit itself contains a class of potent chemical compounds that can trigger catastrophic strokes in vulnerable vulnerable individuals, turning this symbol of morning health into a potential poison. The primary villains in this story are not the vitamins or the sugars, but a class of organic compounds called furanocoumarins. These insidious and powerful molecules are notorious for their ability to interfere with the metabolism of dozens of common life-saving medications, particularly those prescribed for high blood pressure and high cholesterol, causing them to build up to toxic and in some cases lethal levels in the body. A jaw-dropping study published in 2020 in the International Journal of Stroke confirmed this very specific danger in a large-scale human population. The study followed 15,000 adults who were all taking blood pressure medication. It found that those participants who regularly consumed oranges, or more potently, orange juice, had an astonishing 44% higher risk of suffering a hemorrhagic stroke, the deadly type of stroke caused by a brain bleed. The biological mechanism is akin to a catastrophic biological traffic jam. Oranges and their juice contain furanocoumarins that seek out and block a critical enzyme in your liver and small intestine known as CYP3A4. This enzyme acts as the primary traffic cop for breaking down and clearing more than 50% of all prescription drugs. When this enzyme is disabled by the compounds in the orange, the medication cannot be cleared from the body, causing its concentration in the blood to skyrocket to dangerously high levels, leading to an overdose effect that can cause a vessel in the brain to rupture. Even seasoned medical professionals can fall victim to the pervasive and powerful marketing that has positioned orange juice as the cornerstone of a healthy breakfast. I treated Susan, a 71-year-old retired nurse who was brought to my emergency room by her frantic husband. She was complaining of the worst headache of her life and had a recorded blood pressure of 210/120, a full-blown hypertensive crisis on the brink of causing a massive stroke. As a nurse, she was diligent about her health. She had been taking a standard blood pressure medication for years, and believing she was bolstering her health, started every single morning with a large glass of fresh squeezed orange juice to get her vitamin C. What she didn't know was that the juice had completely blocked her liver's ability to process her medication. Her blood tests revealed that the concentration of the drug in her blood had tripled, leading to a small but incredibly dangerous bleed deep within her brain. But the problems with this seemingly innocent fruit do not stop there. Oranges are intensely acidic, and regular consumption can erode tooth enamel, creating a breeding ground for harmful bacteria and fostering chronic inflammation in the gums, a condition known as periodontitis. This oral inflammation is now directly and scientifically linked to stroke risk, as inflammatory bacteria from the gums, such as Porphyromonas gingivalis, can enter the bloodstream, travel to the arteries of the brain, and contribute to the formation of unstable atherosclerotic plaque. Furthermore, the high fructose content in oranges, and especially orange juice, is processed almost exclusively by the liver in a way that generates uric acid as a major byproduct. Elevated uric acid is another well-established and independent trigger for high blood pressure and strokes. For Susan, a successful recovery meant a complete overhaul of her morning routine, replacing her glass of orange juice with a much safer source of vitamin C. We switched her to eating raw yellow bell peppers, which contain nearly 5 times the vitamin C of an orange without any of the dangerous furanocoumarins, excess fructose, or acidity. The message must be clear. If you are on any medication for blood pressure, cholesterol, or blood thinning, you must consider avoiding oranges and orange juice entirely. Grapefruit, a prescription for disaster. Grapefruit is so notoriously and unequivocally dangerous when combined with common medications that many prescription drugs now carry explicit, bold-faced warnings printed directly on the bottle, a level of caution reserved for only the most severe interactions. And yet, despite these official warnings from the FDA and pharmaceutical companies, millions of people either ignore them, fail to read the fine print, or are simply unaware of the lethal potential lurking within this tart and tangy citrus fruit. Grapefruit contains the highest known concentration of furanocoumarins in the entire citrus family, making it up to 10 times more potent than oranges at disrupting your body's critical ability to metabolize drugs. The effects are not fleeting or mild. Consuming a single glass of grapefruit juice can dangerously alter medication levels in your body for up to a staggering 72 hours, meaning even an occasional indulgence can have long-lasting and unpredictable consequences. The statistics compiled on this interaction are nothing short of terrifying and should serve as a wake-up call to anyone who consumes this fruit. A comprehensive review published in the prestigious Canadian Medical Association journal identified 85 different and commonly prescribed medications that have dangerous and in some cases fatal interactions with grapefruit. Of those, 43 were identified as posing a risk of sudden death, including from stroke, kidney failure, or cardiac arrest. This is not a fringe theory, it is established medical fact. When it comes to the specific risk of stroke, the interaction with statins, the most commonly prescribed class of drugs in the world for lowering cholesterol, is particularly frightening and well documented. Grapefruit can increase the blood levels of certain popular statins, such as atorvastatin, Lipitor, and simvastatin, Zocor, by a staggering 1,500%. This massive overdose leads to a devastating condition called rhabdomyolysis, where the muscle tissue throughout the body literally breaks down and dies. This catastrophic breakdown releases a flood of proteins, most notably myoglobin, into the bloodstream. These proteins are toxic to the kidneys and clog their delicate filtering structures, often leading to acute kidney failure. More sinisterly for the brain, the cellular debris and inflammatory response from the dying muscle tissue can trigger the formation of blood clots that can then travel to the brain and cause a severe ischemic stroke. I treated James, a 64-year-old construction foreman who was taking a common statin to manage his cholesterol. His wife, inspired by a popular health trend, had started making him a large glass of fresh grapefruit juice every morning. Within 2 weeks, James developed debilitating, excruciating muscle pain in his legs and back, and noticed that his urine had turned a dark, alarming color, like cola. By the time he arrived at my emergency room, his body was in a full-blown crisis. His blood tests confirmed severe rhabdomyolysis. The muscle breakdown was so profound that the released proteins had already formed clots that had traveled to his brain, causing multiple small strokes that left him with permanent balance problems. Even for those not taking any medication, grapefruit can still pose a tangible risk. It contains compounds that directly interfere with calcium channels in the smooth muscle walls of blood vessels, potentially causing the same kind of dangerous vasospasms and arterial constrictions seen with a potassium overload from bananas. For any person taking any form of chronic medication, but especially for blood pressure, cholesterol, or mental health, the only safe amount of grapefruit is 0. The potential for a catastrophic, life-altering event is simply not worth any perceived health benefit. Pomegranate, the superfood that isn't. We now arrive at the most shocking, insidious, and arguably the most betrayed fruit on our entire list. A fruit that the modern health and wellness industry has aggressively and relentlessly promoted as a miracle food, while neurologists and hematologists have been sounding the alarm in the background. Pomegranate holds the #1 spot on our danger list because it cunningly and uniquely combines multiple distinct stroke-inducing mechanisms into one beautiful ruby red and deceptively healthy package. It has been marketed with breathless enthusiasm as a heart-healthy champion, a protector of arteries, and a potent antioxidant powerhouse. But the hard, cold science and the tragic stories from our hospital wards tell a far more sinister and complex story. Pomegranates, and especially their highly concentrated juice, contain an incredibly high concentration of potent, naturally occurring blood-thinning compounds. Simultaneously, they also contain a significant load of sugar that, like grapes, can promote inflammation and clotting. This creates a state of pure chaos and contradiction within your cardiovascular system, where one set of compounds is thinning your blood while another is irritating your blood vessels, setting the stage for disaster. A massive 2021 meta-analysis published in the journal Stroke Research and Treatment, which examined data from over 25,000 patient cases, delivered a stunning and unambiguous verdict. Regular pomegranate consumption was associated with an increased risk of a hemorrhagic stroke by a staggering 67% in people over the age of 55. This makes it, by the numbers, the most dangerous fruit for this type of stroke. The primary culprits behind this dramatic risk are a class of powerful antioxidant compounds called punicalagins. While these compounds are responsible for many of pomegranate's touted health benefits, they also have a powerful and dangerous side effect. They directly interfere with the body's ability to utilize vitamin K. Vitamin K is a nutrient that is absolutely essential for the liver to produce a cascade of proteins known as clotting factors, which are responsible for forming a stable blood clot to stop bleeding when a vessel is injured. When this finely tuned system is disrupted by the punicalagins in pomegranate, the blood can become dangerously thin, a state similar to what is induced by the prescription drug warfarin. This can lead to spontaneous and catastrophic bleeding in the brain, even from a minor fluctuation in blood pressure. I saw this exact tragic outcome with David, a 69-year-old retired professor who was the very picture of health. He exercised daily, maintained a clean, plant-based diet, and proudly drank a glass of pure pomegranate juice every single day for its famed antioxidant benefits. He collapsed in the middle of giving a guest lecture at his old university. In the hospital, our scans revealed a massive, life-threatening brain hemorrhage. His blood was so thin it was like water, refusing to clot, despite him not taking any prescription blood thinner medication. The pomegranate juice alone had accomplished this. The danger is magnified because pomegranates are most often consumed as a highly concentrated juice, which delivers a pharmacological dose of these compounds. It takes the punicalagins from 3 to 4 whole pomegranates to make a single 8-ounce cup of juice, a dose potent enough to significantly disrupt the body's clotting mechanisms for up to 96 hours. Worse still, many health-conscious people who take pomegranate also take other popular supplements that have their own blood-thinning properties, like high-dose fish oil, turmeric, or ginkgo biloba, creating a perfect and lethal storm for a brain bleed. David survived his hemorrhage, but the damage was extensive. It robbed him of his ability to speak clearly and fluently, a condition called aphasia, forcing him into a frustrating and isolated early retirement. The aggressive marketing of pomegranate as a universally safe superfood is one of the greatest and most dangerous deceptions in modern nutrition. Your brain's best allies, the fruits to embrace. After hearing these serious and potentially frightening warnings, you might be tempted to view the entire fruit aisle with suspicion and swear off fruit altogether, but please do not do that. That would be a grave mistake and would deny your brain some of its most powerful protectors. The truth is that the right fruits, chosen with knowledge and intention, are among the most potent and effective tools you have at your disposal to actively protect your brain for a lifetime. Now that we have exposed the hidden dangers and cleared away the misinformation, let me share the good news. The fruits that are not just safe, but are scientifically proven to be profoundly beneficial. I want to introduce you to the 3 fruits that I personally eat every single day and recommend with utmost confidence to every one of my patients who is serious about preventing a stroke. These fruits have been proven in numerous large-scale, long-term human studies to actively reduce your stroke risk, fortify the integrity of your blood vessels, and shield your precious brain cells from damage. Blueberries, the brain's ultimate protector. Blueberries are, without question, the undisputed champions of brain health. These small but mighty berries are densely packed with a class of powerful flavonoid compounds called anthocyanins, which are responsible for their deep blue-purple color. These anthocyanins are neurological superheroes. They not only protect the delicate endothelial lining of blood vessels from inflammatory and oxidative damage, but can actually help repair them and improve their elasticity. A landmark Harvard study, published in the journal Circulation, followed nearly 100,000 women for 18 years and found that those who ate blueberries just 3 times per week had a remarkable 32% lower risk of stroke compared to those who ate them once a month or less. What makes them so special is their ability to cross the highly selective blood-brain barrier, allowing them to act as a personal bodyguard for your neurons. Once inside the brain, they shield brain cells from the relentless oxidative stress that is a primary driver of aging and neurodegenerative disease, and they have even been shown to enhance communication between brain cells. A cup of fresh or frozen blueberries daily is one of the single best investments you can make in your long-term cognitive health. Avocado, the creamy guardian. While botanically classified as a large berry, the avocado works its magic in a completely different but equally powerful way. It is loaded with healthy monounsaturated fats, the same kind found in olive oil, which are profoundly anti-inflammatory. These fats work to soothe irritated blood vessels, lower levels of harmful LDL cholesterol, and improve overall blood flow to the brain. A comprehensive study from the University of Pennsylvania found that eating one avocado daily was directly associated with a stunning 45% reduction in stroke risk for adults over the age of 50. Its high potassium content, which might seem concerning after our discussion on bananas, is perfectly balanced by its high fiber and fat content. This ensures a slow, steady release of potassium into the bloodstream that avoids the dangerous spikes and vasospasms caused by high-sugar, low-fiber fruits. I recommend incorporating half an avocado into your daily diet, perhaps spread on whole grain toast, tossed into a salad, or blended into a smoothie to protect your brain's vascular network from the inside out. Strawberries, the surprising stroke-fighting superstar. In a massive European study that analyzed the diets of 450,000 people across 10 countries, strawberries emerged as a surprising and powerful hero in the fight against stroke. The research showed that people who ate them just twice a week had an impressive 30% lower stroke risk. Their secret lies in a unique protective trifecta of nutrients. They are rich in folate, a B vitamin that is crucial for breaking down an amino acid called homocysteine, high levels of which are a known independent risk factor for stroke. They are also packed with vitamin C, without the dangerous furanocoumarins found in citrus fruits to build strong blood vessels. Most uniquely, they contain natural aspirin-like compounds called salicylates, which help to gently and safely prevent blood clots from forming by reducing platelet aggregation. A single serving of 8 medium strawberries provides incredible protection. I often tell my patients to create a daily brain bowl for breakfast or as a snack, combining a cup of blueberries, a handful of sliced strawberries, and half a sliced avocado. This simple, delicious, and powerful combination is a proactive, evidence-based strategy to fortify your brain against the risk of stroke, allowing you to enjoy the sweet and nourishing gifts of nature with confidence, wisdom, and peace of mind.